Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Emily from Hopscotch Interactive, and today was a big day for all of the XR folks that I know out there. And I am starting things off by trying to get comfortable in something that approximates what I think it's going to feel like to wear the new headset. These are Scott goggles, I think $34.99 from our last ski trip with my daughter. So these are I'm just going to rock these for now because I think that this is probably what it's going to be like. Oh my goodness. I was on the edge of my seat today for Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference. I'm just kidding about these, but it's kind of funny, right? Like there is a resemblance. You've got to give it to them. I was on the edge of my seat. We went through iOS 17 updates. We heard about the iPad. We even got to PDFs. We were like an hour and 45 minutes into this conference or into this keynote, and I was just going, is anything going to happen? Are they going to announce anything? And then, of course, Tim Cook hit us with the one more thing. So that one more thing being the announcement of the next amazing release from Apple, and really a groundbreaking historical release of hardware, which is the new Apple Vision Pro. Okay, so here's the deal. Let me move this over so that I'm not like cut off from the video here. But basically, here's the scoop. $34.99 available in early 2024. You've seen all the news, but now what I want to do is walk you through the things that I reacted to while I was watching. So it is, of course, according to these guys, the first Apple product that you look through and not at. And I was thinking about that going, okay, that's true. So there's this pass-through, right? There's the pass-through element. We've seen this before. We've seen this before with the HoloLens. We've seen this with HoloLens 2. We've seen it with Magic Leap, Magic Leap 2. We've seen this with pretty much any wearable device. That pass-through is a huge part of the product design. And it also, especially with the Quest and the Meta Quest and Meta Quest Pro, or Quest 2 and Quest Pro, that pass-through is really, really important because it helps us communicate better and to just, feel like we can go in and out of experiences without feeling like we're stuck in VR. Which is great for certain use cases. So here is the story. As we are introduced to this, there is a explanation for folks who are not familiar with VR or maybe who have never tried any of the existing headsets that are already on the market. You control the Vision Pro using your most natural and intuitive tools. This is wrapping up a statement that really describes pretty much every single current hardware, headset that I've tried recently, which uses any type of inside out tracking, right? Inside out tracking and hand and gesture recognition is pretty standard now, even though a few years ago it really wasn't. So that's something that is like, ooh, they make it sound so sexy, but it's been around for quite some time. And also viewing your world in a new way. So expanding beyond the limitations of our screens and our monitors to be able to put content anywhere in the room. If any of you have already tried any of the current generation of headsets, you will know that this is not novel by any stretch, but it's probably going to be really good fidelity, and it's probably going to have a great form factor and feeling for you when you're wearing it. And also, the Apple Vision Pro, so here's what Alan Dye says. The Apple Vision Pro allows us the freedom to imagine and experience. So what he's talking about here is, explaining spatial computing to people who are unfamiliar with the term, because of course, as things shifted to metaverse and then they shifted to AI, everybody forgot about spatial computing and they stuffed it away. But, I started a company in 2017 called Spatial First, and we were a spatial interface, spatial computing company for commercial real estate. So we knew we were ahead of the times, but kind of one of the last things I was expecting was all of a sudden for spatial computing to come back around as the way we're going to describe this according according to the world, with the world according to Apple. But there you have it. And also, I feel like it's really important that it's like hearing about some sort of medicine regimen you need to take from the wrong person. Like somebody can tell you that you should do something, and then if it's not coming from the right person, like say your spouse tells you you should do something, you're like, no. But then, your friend tells you and you go, oh, of course, that sounds like a great idea. It's a little bit like who delivers the news is who's going to be most impactful with it. And so the fact that Apple got behind AR so much today, and they finally released to the world all of their plans, or at least the plans for this spatial OS, spatial computing for them, it really feels like, they're trying to translate what this technology can do to the masses. So I am excited about that. Growing beyond your physical environments. Again, none of this is really new. It's not that novel even. It's a lot of things we've already seen. And from some of the commentary that I've seen from friends in the industry, I think it's because they want to encourage developers to feel like they can port their existing apps to the headset, and that this is just a continuation, like an organic continuation of those apps into a headset rather than being, in your hands. So a hands-free device. So again, this was sort of where they walked us through the gesture stuff and also through the pass-through. So as I illustrated before in my very, rudimentary designs, I mean, it's not that far off. But I know that is full of incredible computing and computing power and LiDAR and spatial recognition and spatial awareness. And so with the technology that's going to be in this headset, so I'm not even pretending. But look, it's amazing. So this is when you're in pass-through mode. I think I'm just going to bump into this one just for a second so you can see this. And let's go to the next one. Okay, so when you're in I can talk to you mode, you've got the pass-through, the vision, but you can see there is a blue light there, so you know that there's something on screen. And then here you can see that it's a little bit blurred, so we can't interrupt them at the moment. I wonder if parents are just going to stick those on when they get home from work, and that's what they're going to do. Let's take a look at this in action. So this is the model showing us her home environment, and somebody comes up to her and is like, oh, I'm going to chat with you. I'm here in the home environment. And she's like, great, I'll switch. Now I can see you again. I switched modes. So that was pretty cool to be able to see that. And let's see if we can get back to the other use cases besides sitting on the couch and ignoring your family, which of course, right? Or I don't know, like talking to your family in 3D video chat. We'll talk about that in a second. But the Vision Pro is always in sync with your iPhone, iPad, and Mac, and of course your watch. So I love wearing my Apple Watch. It helps me find my phone. It helps me with a lot of things. But certainly this is intended to get you excited about work. While I was in my viewing party with my friends watching this earlier, we were all wondering, where's the cord going? And the cord, of course, was attached to a battery. We'll get into that in a second. But the idea is that you can remain present in your space and connected to others with this video pass-through. And let's take a look of what this is supposed to look like in that. Let's look again, and let's go to full screen. Here we go. This is the dude with the battery obviously attached to it. So I'm assuming that the battery needs to be attached all the time to power it. I'm not really sure, but if we replay that, so he's able to have as many screens as he wants, and he's able to use that as his desk. They explained using the Magic Keyboard and using some of the other accessories. You're really going to have a seamless experience. Although look at that right there. That is a keyboard that would be gesture controlled, if I'm not mistaken, because that is in the experience. So he's not even using a real keyboard. He's just He's just there using that on his desktop or on his desk. He doesn't need a desktop. He just needs a desk. Okay, so next one up, let's talk about FaceTime and let's talk about why I think that this is really a push towards the masses. So in this example, we've got somebody doing a basically like a team meeting, even though she's in maybe her hotel room or in her bedroom, and she's got her teammates chatting with her while she makes a presentation. So that would be a very cool use case for this. Obviously, it's the next step beyond immersion after our regular Zoom call, but we've already illustrated with many other things that we can do with, you know, entering into any kind of chat right now in VR or in the MetaQuest 2, that we can already accomplish a lot of these things with existing programs and apps. It just might be that it is more elegant and more accessible to people because they are already big users of the Apple ecosystem, okay? And so, and I do like the idea of Facebook being something that has spatial audio in it. That was one of the things that they mentioned, was that you will have the audio spatialized based on wherever the person is in your home screen. And so I like that. I think that's very cool. And also this color pass through, I'm not sure. You know, we can also dial in the occlusion so that you put they were showing basically you could put a skybox or a 360, and that there were a lot of different options for including immersive environments that would add occlusion to the scene. So that makes me excited for maybe a renaissance for 360 content as well. Now let's get into some of the stuff that really excited me, which as a photographer, I think would excite you too. So lets you capture and relive your memories with 3D in 3D with spatial audio. Okay, guys, so this is it. The photography of the future is not going to be a nerf like everyone thinks it is right away. It's going to be a 3D photograph captured on your Apple Vision Pro. And so you're going to hold on to that memory, and here's what it's going to look like is you're going to be able to watch it and relive it in 3D. Now, I guess it looks to me like it's still a 2D projection, but maybe we can make that spatial somehow. You know, I don't know. It says you can capture spatial video of a fun moment with your kids. So how much spatial video are you able to capture? How much of a moment? Are they trying to say it's going to be like capture videos up to 8 seconds of spatial videos so that you don't use up all the storage in your device? Or I'm trying to figure out what that is going to be, and there are no answers yet. There might be some answers, but we'll get to that in a second. All right, so cinematic experiences going beyond 2 dimensions. And then this is where we got into stuff that helped raise the stock prices of companies other than Apple. All right, so the first one that they talked about was what if you could bring a Disney, okay, so what if you could bring a Disney World to you? I was literally on stage like last week at Augmented World Expo talking about location-based entertainment, and I said we bring the theme park to, or sometimes you have your first experience in XR, location-based entertainment, when you go to a theme park, or if we bring the theme park to you. So I felt like that was a little bit prescient of this amazing presentation here. There were over 1 million people watching it on the live stream with me on YouTube today. So I know that a ton of people were watching it, and it was great. And I was in a chat as well with my friends. But seeing Bob Iger, seeing Disney talk about the way that they see this becoming a way to create more immersion. I'm already a Disney Plus subscriber. I have kids, so seeing cool ways that like 8K content or Disney content can become more immersive, or that this could be like a major treat for our kids to let them watch movies or watch an episode of The Mandalorian in this. I could imagine that being like truly, truly epic. And also remember, you're going to have that pass-through camera, so your mixed reality gaming environment / content overlays are going to be kind of wild. Like this definitely opens up a channel for marketers and for advertisers and for product placement and interaction and all of these different kinds of more immersive ways to do brand and storytelling are going to explode because people are going to get behind the Apple game. Okay. So here's what's under the hood. The frame completes the form. It has so many specs. One of the things that I thought was cool is that they partnered with Zeiss for the optics, so you can get special lenses for these. They want you to wear it comfortably for a longer amount of time. If it were a VR device, I would say, that's not really going to make it because people don't want to spend endless and endless hours in VR. They want great experiences in VR, but they don't want to spend like 8 hours a day in it. But for an AR device, for a mixed reality device, I think it will work. Now, coming into that, they studied thousands of heads to get a detailed understanding of the form factor and how comfortable it needed to be. So this allows us to tailor the product to fit you perfectly. It is modular. I think that's great. It looks comfortable. Like it looks like I could wear it for a long time. And it looks also like, here's the thing. Let's talk about hairstyles and fit. Every current device, so this is the thing. I'm going back to the ski goggles, guys. All right, so check it out. I'm going back to the ski goggles because these pretty much fit anybody's head, anybody's hair, anybody's helmet, right? I have a ponytail on, no problem. So I think that they got that the headband display was going to be a game changer for women, and that they also got it that it was going to also work for people with, let's say, black hair. You've got, your hairstyle and putting something that has the the fastener to tighten it over the top of your hair, smushes your ponytail, wrecks your hair, and is one of the deterrents. People don't want to put something on their head that they can't just like rock as a headband. So I think that this is a big win. I think that honestly, it was not talked about by a lot of people today, or at least not commented on from people that I saw. But for me, that was like a big aha moment. Also, spatial audio. They talked about this a lot, and I have to say, I'll have to go back and rewatch everything about it, but I loved the idea of matching the sound to your room. And my husband, who is he's a professor, a music professor, and he studies spatial audio. We were discussing how we'd like to see exactly how this works. And so I think the jury is still out on this one, but we'll come back to it. Getting into the encoder decoder neural network. So this is basically like, studying your face and then fitting the system to you, or at least recognizing you so that you can put it on and quickly get access to it. I think that's the part that this was. Let me know in the chat if I messed it up. Oh, by the way, if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe because I love making these videos. And if I hear from you, it motivates me to do more, which I think is a good thing. So definitely add into the comments and let me know that you're watching and what you think. I love to chime in on things like this because I'm not a journalist. I've just been following this industry for absolutely years and years. And here we come back to Apple Vision Pro is more than a new product. It's an entirely new platform. And this is the stuff that gets me excited. But at the same time, I think that I'm going to temper my enthusiasm because I feel like the best is yet to come. Reality Composer, they will be making new apps for the Vision Pro. I think that was one of the complaints, is that we didn't see like a launch app that was like a major game-changing wow launch app. I think that the product itself is the launch, right? And so we haven't seen that killer app yet, but maybe that's because the product is the killer app. But Reality Composer is so easy to use. It's drag and drop AR. If you're in the Apple ecosystem, it is actually quite simple, and even I can make AR experiences using Reality Composer. So check out the rest of these apps and look for new ones, including ones that you already have. Photographers, I'm talking to you. This is Lightroom, Adobe Lightroom in the Apple Vision Pro. What that means is that you are making your adjustments on an enormous screen. My current issue with that is that unless it's like I have a 5K Retina screen up in my office, and that's what I use. And look, you can easily color this with your eyes and your hands. Does that mean I'm going to be painting in AR to use gesture control for Lightroom? Or will I want to paint? Will I want to use some sort of like a pencil or a wand? Or is it just going to be so hard to let go of using my hand gestures? Because the gestures that I use to edit in Lightroom and in Photoshop, because I've been doing that for years. So also, if that screen is not calibrated, then what? So I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions about this, but in theory, I think it's awesome. And I also have registered a couple of domains that are related to photography, because I think I could end up doing something with this to be continued. And just some ideas that I had once I saw that, as well as, of course, the enormous widescreen possibility and immersion. This is something more like a cave experience where you've got your panorama and you're looking at your content that way. And if you are a current Unity developer, this was a good day for you, because it was, confirmation that maybe you weren't one of the folks that has been already testing this or has already gotten access to start developing for it. But if you're in Unity, all of those apps are going to be something that you can port to the Vision Pro. So it was a huge day for Unity. It was a huge day for, game engines, not Epic, not Unreal. There's a rivalry there, but for Unity, man, this was like the best news, because they needed it, and I love it. So privacy and security, ironically, there are like a dozen trackers and cameras that are always on with this, but this is putting privacy and security at the center. I love this, where your browser, like, unless you click on something to go through to it, what you're looking at and what you're searching for, that data is not stored in the cloud. That data is just local, and that's it. So again, the price is $34.99. They were like, come to the store, it was built for stuff like this. And I was thinking to myself, I hope that they understand that when you are putting a headset on a person, I've been to so many XR trade shows, and after a while I just didn't want to try the headsets on anymore, even with cleaning them and all that. So yes, it's great and people will go and demo it, but I'm also a little bit of like I wouldn't say a germaphobe, but I think I would definitely temper my enthusiasm for App Store or Apple Store experiences with it. And then they had this ad that came up, which for me was, it was a little bit like, wait, are we preaching to the choir? I didn't feel like this was as global enough of an ad with as global enough of an appeal as I would have liked. I would have liked to have seen them really make a commitment towards, we want you to talk to people in Africa. We want you to talk to people in Japan. We want you to feel closeness to your friends in South America or in Europe. And they didn't do it. The star of this commercial was like a dad with like what looked like pretty privileged kids. And I was like, that was kind of a missed opportunity for me, because even though it is expensive, I feel like, it is something that it would replace a nice computer in somebody's home and do a lot more. But, the ad is certainly, I don't know, I didn't see me in the ad, I guess, is what I could say. And maybe some other people didn't see themselves either. Now, let's see, this is just people watching video and Apple's first spatial operating system. So this is truly going to be a historic moment for Apple and for the next generation of spatial computing, which we already knew was, as some folks had called it in the past, maybe the fourth transformation or the next Web 3.0 cycle, or as things move from a graphical user interface into the spatial web. or to mobile and then into the spatial web. This is the beginning of the spatial web going mainstream because it's Apple, right? It's the iPhone moment. So here are some better marketing photos. And you know what, guys? This looks so much like the Magic Leap, I just have to say, with the battery pack attached to it. And I mean, I knew that is what that was when I saw it. And I hope that there are, that this is lighter weight, that it's slimmer, that it has a nice battery life. I think is going to be awesome. Here's another one. Explore the cosmos. So a little hint at the content that they're going to be having in their sky guide. Look at the sky and then see what happens. You can do that on your phone. You can do that already, but you're going to probably enjoy it more with AR. It will be cooler. You'll be able to work. Here is a dude. Let's see. Does he have a monitor in this photo? I feel like there's a monitor here as well. So he's got the monitor, he's got his trackpad, he's got his stuff, he's got his coffee. So, does that much change? And again, this is exciting. This is that wheel where you can roll in and out of occlusion. I think that is, and occlusion, guys, is full occlusion being virtual reality. Nothing else gets in, right? You can't see anything else. And then partial occlusion would be, you having a more open hardware form function or form factor. And then also glass just pass through when you have less occlusion. So that's the difference. And then, are we going to be chatting with our friends and being like, hey, what's up? Did you need me? I can see you. So I think that's funny. And again, just the fabric. And here's what it looks like. So here are my big takeaways. Spatial computing plus, a big plus for spatial computing today. Eyesight is what they are calling this transformative pass-through. So the eyesight is what allows you to be able to see and then also to be able to, dim or occlude when you want to have a fully immersive experience. And the folks that I've been following on Twitter have been talking about it. Yes, it will be able to do VR, but we're not there yet talking about VR because we're trying to get people excited about this being a next step. Optic ID, secure authorization to get into it. And so that's probably that scanning. I'm guessing that's the scanning. I have to refresh my memory. But again, that's something new. But what did the markets say? I was watching the stock price as I went through this 2-hour keynote, and it was up. It was up until just about when they started talking about those PDFs, and I swear they lost people. People were like, PDFs, you're losing me. Stickers, awesome. Social media, awesome. iOS 17, awesome. Like all of that was great. The MacBook 15-inch Air, all the new chips, the M2 Pro or the M2 Ultra chip, all of that stuff was like, yes, like fanfare and excitement. But it ended the day trading down. Now, this happened, I want to say, in the fall as well. There's a tendency for this to happen, but it seemed like as soon as the headset was announced, I felt like I could see those investors just ratcheting back their enthusiasm just a little bit. And I think it's because there is still a little bit of reluctance after the pain of the metaverse coming off of its hype cycle. And so that happened for Apple a little bit, not that bad, but look at the day that Unity had. Up $5.32. I think they closed the day around a little in the mid 30s, up 17%. So Unity had an extraordinary day. So I think there is confidence in the developer ecosystem using Unity now. And so that's a big deal. Disney also, they got a little lift for the day. And I think that, we'll have to see if it translates into much more success down the road, but it's certainly exciting. The question is, will I buy it? And I mean, the answer for me is right now is yes. $34.99 I feel like it's a lot of money, but for me and for the journey that I'm on with XR, it makes perfect sense for me to invest in this, to have a headset, to be able to use it before other folks are figuring it out and getting excited about it. Remember the first iPod? Do you remember the first iPhone? Not everybody had it. The early adopters had it. This is exactly the same. It's still going to take a few generations of this device before we get to the point where everyone will want to use it. And maybe that's in 10 years. It's probably going to be in 10 years. But in the meantime, I think I'm going to get behind it because I've continued to get behind it. But what do my indie creators have to say about this? Well, Tilt 5, Jerry Ellsworth and team, you could get almost 9 Tilt 5s, enough for the whole family. So in the meantime, if you want to have the world's most fun gaming system for literally 1/10 or almost 1/10 the price, you can get a Tilt 5 and have it in time for Christmas. You will not have a Apple Vision Pro in time for Christmas. Okay, Lucas Risotto, again, this needs to be said, and Lucas, if you don't follow him, you should definitely follow him. He's amazing, mad scientist of XR and, machine learning and AI and all of these things, and music, brilliant. Okay, so Apple's vision of spatial computing was almost exactly what Magic Leap has been pushing for years under Roni Abovitz. What they announced is cool and super polished, but it isn't new. Recognize your visionaries. Worldwide Developers Conference 23. I think Lucas has a point. Apple spent, and this Benedict Evans from AZ, so Andreessen Horowitz, Apple spent 10 years, which is a huge VC, right? Like one of the most well-respected and well-known VCs in the world. A stamp, the kiss from them is the kiss of approval, and and the rest is history. But Apple spent 10 years building a privacy brand and now launches a device with a dozen always-on cameras. It's a mystery, but it makes sense. And Roni himself says it was like watching a greatest hits album of everyone else's work. I do feel Roni's pain today because I know that they've been working on it. But I have friends out there, Inga Petrovskaya, who is the CEO and founder of Shapes XR, and she says she can't be more excited for whatever is ahead of us. Inga, I know you are near me, and I am going to hit you up to get a demo of this if I'm allowed. And again, for the Shapes XR team, this is a perfect example of companies who have already been developing in XR for a long time. They have their chops. They are doing amazing work, and she's aimed towards collaboration and design. So design collaboration in XR, multi-person, multiplayer. And so when she says, or when they say we will shine on it, you better believe it. It's going to be a great day for companies like this who get a big, big lift way over what they have currently on the MetaQuest platforms and even on, like the Vive, etc. So overall, I would say thumbs up. I'm really excited. I will remain in the meantime, I will remain in my, wishing that I had it and hoping that I get one soon. But yeah, I think it's great. I'm really happy, and I couldn't be more excited because I feel like, having been in the XR space and having been an evangelist for it for so many years, I feel like I got to see a lot of friends kind of coming out of the closet today, letting me know and letting everybody know what they've been working on in secret. And I was checking to see, oh, you were on this? Like, I thought you were. So it was very exciting. And I can tell that wonderful things will come. The rest will be history, but certainly it's been a great day. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed my thoughts, if you have thoughts of your own and you would like to comment or join in on the fun, please like and subscribe. And put what you're thinking down at the bottom. If you're new to the channel, I cover a lot of, tech, specifically tech as it relates to media, photography, video, and especially new media like this, because I love XR. I have been an XR advocate and evangelist and creator since 2015. So please follow the channel and let me know what you think. I look forward to seeing you next time, and have a good day.